držal?
Ne, se lahko isto.
Boš? Aha,
Razen če hočeš.
samo narediš, ne treba. Je dva.
Jaz sem kar začel. Šri Damodraštaka, 8 verzov v slavu gospoda Damodarja. Krišna Dvajpajana Vyasa iz Padma Purane. Podoba vsevišnjega gospoda je utelešenje večnosti, znanja in blaženosti. Njegovi uhani v obliki morskih psov nihajo sem ter tja. Ta gospod čudovito blesti v božanski gokuli. Najprej je razbil vrč, v katerem je njegova mati pinila jogurt za maslo. Potem pa je ukradel maslo, ki so ga v shrambi hranili obešenega pod stropom. Zaradi te porednosti je v strahu pred materjo Jašodo urno pobegnil stran od lesenega možnarja. Vendar ga je mati na koncu le ujela, saj je tekla hitreje. Temu vsevišnjemu gospodu Šri Damodari izkažujem ponižno spoštovanje. V strahu pred šibo v materini roki joče, z lotusovima ročicama pa si spet in spet mane oči. Oči so mu polne strahu, okoli vratu, ki ga krasijo 3 črte, da spominja na školjko, pa nosi biserno ogrlico, ki se od hitrega dihanja ob njegovem joku trese. Temu vsevišnjemu gospodu Šri Damodari, ki okrog trebuščka ni zvezan z vrmi, temveč čisto ljubeznijo svoje matere, izkazujem ponižno spoštovanje. Z otroškimi zabavami, kot je ta, prebivalce Gokule utaplja v oceanu ekstatičnih čustev. Tistim baktam, ki so zatopljeni v znanju o njegovem veličastju in obilju, daje vedeti, da ga lahko osvojijo le bakte, katerih ljubezen prepaja zaupnost in ne hromi strahu spoštovanje. Spet z veliko ljubeznijo, 100krat in 100krat izkazujem spoštovanje gospodu Damodari. O gospod, čeprav lahko podariš vse vrste blagoslovov, te ne prosim, da me blagosloviš brez osebno osvoboditvijo, niti ne z najvišjo osvoboditvijo, večnim življenjem na Vajkunti, niti ne s katerokoli drugo ugodnostjo, ki jo dobimo z upravljanjem 9 metod bhakti. O gospod, želim si le, da se tvoja podoba Bale Gopale iz Vrindavane zavedno naseli v mojem srcu. Kakšna je korist od katerega koli drugega blagoslova? O gospod, mati Jašoda znova in znova poljublja tvoj lotusov obraz, obdan s kodri mehkih črnih las z rdečim nadihom. Tvoje ustnice so rdečkaste kot sadež bimba. Naj ta čudovita slika tvojega lotusovega obraza zavedno vstopi v moje srce. Na tisoče drugih blagoslovov mi nič ne pomeni. O vsevišnji gospod, izkazujem ti ponižno spoštovanje. O Damodara, o Ananta, o Višnu, o gospodar, o gospod, bodi zadovoljen z mano. Blagoslovi me s tvojim milostnim pogledom in odreši tega ubogega nevedneža, potopljenega v ocean materialnega gorja. Pokaži se pred mojimi očmi. O gospod Damodara, kot dojenček z vrvjo privezan k lesenemu možnarju, si sinova Kuvere, Manigrivo in Nalakovaro osvobodil narodovega prekletstva in jo povzdignil v velika bhakti. Prosim te, daj tudi meni svojo prema bhakti, hrepenim samo po tem in se ne želim nobene oblike osvoboditve. O gospod Damodara, naj najprej izkažem spoštovanje bleščeči sijajni vrvi, ki veže tvoj trebušček. Nato izkazujem spoštovanje tvojemu trebuščku, v katerem leži ves univerzum. Ponižno se priklanjam tvoji najdražji Šrimati Radharani in izkazujem spoštovanje tebi, vsevišnjemu gospodu, ki uprizarjaš neštete zabave. Vsa slava Šrimati Radharani in Damodari, gospodu Krišni.
Just because. Hare Krishna, sorry for the confusion. Trying to get my wits together now. Thank you. Namamishwaram Sachit Anandarupa Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana Yashodabhiyolukhaladhavamana Paramrishtamatyantapto dhrutya gopya Rudanta muhurnetra yugmam rijantam Karam bhuja yugmena satanka netram Muhushvasa patri rekha kakantha Stita graivam damodaram bhakti badham Iti driksvalila bhirananda kunde Swaghosham nimajantam akyapayantam Tadiyashitagneshu bhaktajitatvam Punha prematastam shatavriti vande Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va Nachanyam rineham vare sadapiha Idam teva purnatha gopala balam Sada mimanya savirastam kimanyai Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nilai Vritam kuntalai snigdaraktasya gopya Muhushchumbitam bimba raktadhara me Manyasa virastamalam lakshalabhai Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasiddha Prabho Dukha Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dinam Batanu Griha Nishama Magya Medhyakshi Drishya Kuveratma jau baddha murtyeva yadvat Tvaya mochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha Tatha prema bhaktim sakha me prayacha Namokshe graho me sidamodareha Namaste Sudhamne Spuradipti Dhamne Tvadiyodaraya Tha Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Huh? Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Damodar Mas ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pratarine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakacharya Asidhara Siddhu Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Harival Slava Zabrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Grangi. Om Agyana Timanandas Yagyananjana Salakaya Chaksum Nulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamaham Idati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, the universal form, text number 40. Namak purastadata pristataste. Namostute sarvata eva sarva. Anantarviryamita vikramastvam. Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarva. Namak purastad ata pristataste. Namostute sarvata eva sarva. Anantaviryamita vikramastvam. Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarva. Namak purastadata pristataste. Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarva. Ladies. Makpurastadata pristataste. Anantaviryamita vikrasya. Ananta viryamita vikramasvam sarvam sapnosi tatosi sarva. Namaha. Offering obeisances. Parastat. From the front. Ata. Also. Prishtataha. From behind. Te. Unto you. Nama astu. I offer my respects. Te. Unto you. Sarvataha. From all sides. Eva. Indeed. Sarva. Because you are everything. Anantavirya. Unlimited potency. Amitas vikramaha. And unlimited force. Tvam. You. Sarvam. Everything. Samapnosti. You cover. Tata. Therefore. Asi. You are. Sarva. Everything. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. Unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus, you are everything. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that he is the master of all potencies and all prowess, and far superior to all great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, Yoyam Tvava Gato Deva Samipam Devata Ganaha Satvam Eva Dagat Trashta Itak Sarva Gato Bhavan. Whoever comes before you, be he a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namo Vishnu Vraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyadyade Siddharne. The 11th chapter in Bhagavad Gita is the experience of Arjuna that confirms that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna could have done any number of things to confirm that, but ultimately, when Krishna showed that he was the whole universe, that was quite impressive. Perhaps he could have lifted a building or something, but then some demigods can do that too. But a demigod cannot show that he is everywhere all the time. Now for us, it's all, to one sense, theory, because the 11th canto, 11th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, describing something which is beyond our experience. That anyone from their mouth can fire come and burn to soldiers, ashes to soldiers, or that someone can take big warriors in their mouth and crush them between their teeth. And their effulgence, his glaring effulgence is blinding and burning to ashes the entire universe. Quite impressive, but really beyond our experience. Still, if someone comes and claims, as Prabhupada says, that they're the actual Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you can ask them to display their universal form. There was a little boy named Guru Maharaj. I don't think you know Guru Maharaj. He was a little boy claiming to be God. And he had many followers, and they all believed he was God. One time, we went to a stadium where he was coming in Houston, Texas. And there were a number of devotees outside distributing Bhagavad Gitas. And when we went up to the people coming to their festival for Guru Maharaji, we gave them a Bhagavad Gita and said, this was written by your leader. You should buy it. And indeed, we sold many hundreds of Bhagavad Gitas to them. Before the word came down from Guru Maharaj, that actually we weren't his. He was claiming that the Hare Krishnas were his best devotees.
Wow.
But we never really got to see him very much, nor did we want to see him. When I was in the garden with Srila Prabhupada and a devotee named Karanda, who was the temple president of Los Angeles at that time, and Karanda told Prabhupada that we were invited, some people came to the temple and invited us to go to the airport in order to greet God, Guru Maharaji. So Prabhupada said, I would have went there to the airport and kicked him in the face with shoes on. Prabhupada didn't like bogus incarnations. But another time Prabhupada said, well, if he's actually God, then ask him to show his universal form. And when he was asked like that, he said, well, I only show it to my real devotees. So although sometimes he claimed we were his best devotees, and sometimes he wouldn't even show us his universal form, because he didn't think we were good enough devotees. But this is the test. If one is actually going to claim he's something extraordinary, then he has to do something extraordinary. Guru Maharaji didn't do anything extraordinary. As a matter of fact, although the devotees never kicked him in the face with their shoes on, later on, someone, when he was coming to a program, someone took a pie and shoved it in his face. So if he was God, then why didn't he stop the person from embarrassing him like that and taking a simple pie and putting it into his face? We don't find Krishna getting creamed like that. But people are so foolish that they want to be cheated, and therefore they accept some person who has no power of God, they accept him as God, simply as something social. Now, whether Krishna showed Arjuna the universal form or not, we're not going to be able to testify at this particular stage, because we can't see the universal form. How do we know if it's true that Krishna actually showed Arjuna some form called the universal form? We can't even see our own real form. We don't know. Although in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has explained that there is a God, for instance, moving the sun, that there's a God causing time to change everything here. And therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly explains that there is a God. Now the question is, who is that God? Who is the person who is in control of time that's changing everything here? Now time is clearly, in our experience, something that's all-powerful and all-controlling, because it's controlling everything. It's changing everything at every moment in this universe, and yet time is never changing. Time doesn't grow old, and one day time got so old, because time is the oldest, and then it dies because it was so old. Or maybe time just slowed up. Everything's getting slower now because time is getting older and older, and therefore it's slowing up. No, the same time that exists from the beginning of time until now is continuously changing everything throughout eternal time. So the question is, what is that energy that's so powerful it can change everything material, and yet in itself doesn't change? Just like we don't change, so time doesn't change. Therefore, when Arjuna is asked Krishna in this 11th chapter, who are you? So Krishna says, Kalosmi lokashe krit pravido. The time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. Now the question is, who can claim, it doesn't really matter who can claim, but someone must be that controller of all the worlds through time and is vanquishing everything. Similarly, Krishna tells us that we're not this body, that he's, etc., etc. So, even if we don't believe what Krishna says, still, if we, as it says at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, if we theoretically accept that Krishna might be God and not reject him offhand, that it's not fair that he could be God because that would make him too powerful and it would be undemocratic to have such a powerful person. So therefore, we just reject it because it's unfair. We didn't elect him. He has that post eternally. He won't leave it. He's so attached. He won't give it up. Therefore, we can realize Krishna consciousness only if we at least theoretically accept, but not blindly accept. He might be God, he may not be God. But if we work on the presence, on the pretense, what's that? Premise, on the premise that he's God, then Krishna will reveal himself to us. And then we'll gradually understand whether he's God or not. Neither reject Bhagavad Gita, what it says, just like we can't reject the fact that there's time. We can't reject the fact that we're eternal. We can't reject the fact that someone with intelligence is controlling the universe. Who that person is, here Krishna is saying he's that person. In any case, there must be a person like that. And Krishna says, whether you call me Krishna, or you call me Vishnu, whatever you may call me, I'm there. And if you follow my instructions, and the instructions are quite systematic. One of them, we should give up our attachment for ourselves being the proprietor or the controller of this universe, because it's clear that we're not. It's clear that we can't even control one atom in our own body. So how can we claim to be a controller of anything if we can't even control what's going on inside our own body? Not even one atom. So to give up the idea that we're a controller, and then as far as enjoying, it's pretty hard to imagine anyone is ultimately enjoying something so temporary as their material existence. How much fun can you have when you know you're about to leave this body and you don't know where you're going? It's not exactly entertaining to watch your body diminish and gradually get destroyed as time takes care and diminishes and destroys everything. Have a good time while we're growing old, becoming diseased, and then facing death. As I always say, everyone chants or sings happy birthday, but happy birthday means that we just suffered a miserable death day. At death, no one chants, happy death day to you, happy death day to you. Because death, no one's looking forward to death. Oh, death, I'm so glad you're here. And then birth is actually miserable. Everyone's saying happy birthday except for the baby, they slap him in the back, and he's screaming, ah! That's the happy birthday. So Krishna is saying that if one wants to imagine that one's God, then where is the happiness? Where is the power to even control anything at all in the material world? Therefore, one thing we can know is that none of us are God. None of us are really the ultimate enjoyer here. And whether Krishna is God or not, we can find out if we just hear from him, hear about how we have to renounce the results of our work. We shouldn't be in anxiety what's going to happen the next moment, because it's absolutely not within our control. Everyone is thinking they're going to live forever, and any one of us can immediately die. It doesn't matter what we do. At any second. And then even the next second we don't die, we don't leave this body, then wait another 20 seconds, or maybe 20 years. But there's nothing surer than death. And we don't know when it's coming exactly. There's no guarantee that when death comes, that we're guaranteed, well, wait a second, I was guaranteed 5 more years. What are you doing? As I told that story, one man sent his servant to the city to buy something in the city. And when the servant was there, he noticed death personified smiling at him. So he became very much afraid, and he rushed back to his master and said, I went to that city, and right there I saw death personified with his scythe, what he used to cut grains with. And he was smiling at me, so I became afraid, and I rushed back here. So the master said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So he went to the city, and he looked all around there, he saw death personified. And he went up to death personified and said, my servant said that he came here to buy something. I sent him he came here, and he saw you smiling at him, and he became very much afraid. So I sent him to another city. Well, why were you smiling at my servant? He said, well, I was very surprised to see him here, because I had an appointment with him at that city that you sent him to. And mrityu sarvaharachaham, when death comes, everything is taken away. It doesn't matter if you're a rich man, if you're a powerful personality, everything is taken away at death, and there's nothing you can do about it. Except, I'll tell one last thing, which is not Krishna conscious, but it's kind of funny anyhow. I think I've told it before. Anyhow, if you know the punchline, don't tell your neighbor. So there was one man, he was very miserly, and he wouldn't give anyone anything. He was so miserly. But he had heard that if you give the church some money, then you're guaranteed to go to heaven. So he decided, I'm going to give a donation to the church, and therefore guarantee my going to heaven. So he went to the church, gave the priest €5, and demanded a receipt. And the priest said, well, for €5 we don't give receipts. It has to be at least 25. He said, no, I need a receipt. So the priest didn't want to waste his time, so he gave him a receipt for €5. So the time came, he died, and he was on the line going for judgment. And he came up to the pearly gates, and St. Peter was looking into the book of life, and he said, you're a miserly person. You never did any good to anyone. You should go to hell. He said, wait a second, you're wrong. So this man was so attached to his receipt that he was able to take it even when he was dead. So he took out the receipt for €5, and he showed it to St. Peter and said, look, I gave €5 to the church. They promised me I'd go to heaven. So Peter said, no, in the book it says you're supposed to go to hell. I'm sorry, it's a law that if you give a donation to the church, that's what I was told. In good faith, I gave this donation. So there was a big argument going on, and the whole line for judgment got backed up. So God looked out the window, and he saw this big backup of the judgment, and he got a little concerned. So he came out to Peter and said, what's going on? Why is this line backed up? You have to judge everyone, else everyone's waiting down. So Peter said, well, this man, I looked into the book, it said he's supposed to go to hell, but he insists that he's supposed to go to heaven because he gave money to the church. So God said, all right. So he took out his wallet and gave Peter €5 and said, give him back the €5, tell him to go to hell. So that's life. So I'll stop there. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question, Maharaj. Thank you for the class. We hear, of course, over and over and over again, that we are not this body, time is running out, death is coming, and yet the desire to enjoy the material energy is so strong. So, is it possible for us to actually come to our senses and prepare for death by living life properly?
Krishna says, Vitaraga Vyakroda Manmaya Mamupashitya Bhava Jnana Tapasa Puttamadbhava Agata. Being freed from attachment, from fear, and from anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So, Krishna says, many people did it, so we could do it also. We follow the process, and we gradually become purified. Then one day we'll become eligible to, at the time of death, go back to the spiritual world. Whether it's this lifetime or some future lifetime, if we just keep on following the process, one day we'll become eligible, and we'll go back to the spiritual world.
Thank you.
And Krishna says, Masuchaha, don't worry. Because Maya will say, oh, you're not worthy, you should stay here. Your only qualification is you should suffer. We go, yeah, you're right. I'm really bad. Yeah, that's right. It's the only true thing you ever said today. You should stay here and suffer. Okay, I'll stay here and suffer. So Maya will always try, Yoga Chalati Manasa, her job is to try and discourage the devotee, giving up confidence that Krishna actually is God. You think, well, I'm too sinful, even God couldn't save me. Poor God.
Poor me.
No, so Maya will always try to dissuade one. And then the next thing Maya says, well, you're unqualified, but you are qualified to enjoy in the material world. Because you're so sinful, you should just enjoy in the material world. There's nothing else for you to do. So Maya will always tell us that. Don't take it too seriously, because you're supposed to stay here forever in my clutches. Krishna is not powerful enough to save you. So if we believe Maya, rather than Krishna and his representatives, then we'll stay here. And if we think, well, Maya, why should I listen to you? Krishna makes a lot more sense. Then we take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna will save us, if we have faith in him. Anything else? Khala, Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.